Hey guys, so as you can tell from the title of this video, this is all about celiac disease, my story, my experience with it, how I was diagnosed, just everything up until today. I was diagnosed with celiac disease in 2010. It was fall semester of my freshman year in college. I'm a New York native, but I went to school in Pittsburgh. So I was already about 8 hours from home, and I'm going to try and tailor this story specific to my celiac disease experience. I was a pharmacy major, and it was just a really hard major. Also, it was a major that I just genuinely was not interested in. I started off just feeling really sad. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Everything was just affecting my mood. Honestly, I thought it was just, I lived so far from home. Maybe I was missing my family or something like that. I lost a lot of weight. I went from a size 7 to basically just not being able to fit anything. None of my clothes were fitting at all, and I didn't know what was wrong. When I finally went home for winter break, mind you, I had called my mom before and I told her, Mommy, I'm not feeling well. So she made an appointment with basically this all-around, kind of like he's not a general physician, he's a cardiologist, but he just does everything. It's hard to explain, but he just does everything. My mom's a nurse, so she knows a lot of doctors and stuff like that. So basically he's just a really experienced doctor who she knew would be able to help me figure out what my issue was with my body. When I went home for winter break, the first day that I went home, my oldest sister, her best friend, got hit by a train. And that was literally the news that I walked into the first day I got back home. I think I broke up with my ex at the time or something like that. We broke up or something as well during that break. All these things were happening, and I thought that's what was affecting my mood. I thought I was just genuinely sad because I was going through stuff. I went to the doctor. It was mainly just going in, blood work, and leaving. It was a 2-week period that I had to wait before I sat down with the doctor and actually spoke about the results of everything. I advise for anyone who has the following symptoms that I'm going to talk about in this video, I would definitely advise you to get full blood work done because it was just really helpful in general. In that 2-week time span, I still didn't know what was wrong. Really, I just kept feeling so sad, and I was just feeling like there was this huge weight on my shoulders that I just literally could not get rid of. I could not knock. It's something where I woke up, I felt like crap. I didn't feel like moving. I didn't feel like there was anything to aspire to. And I tried to talk to my best friends about everything I was going through, and usually I'm known to be like the strong person in the group, and I guess it was just assumed that whatever I was going through, I was going to get over, get through. It was going to be okay. I don't think I ever really felt or knew the difference between being sad and being depressed until I've dealt with this moment in my life. I didn't think something was actually like physically wrong with my body on the inside. I thought it was just something I had to get through. I thought it was my past catching up to me, just different things that I was worried about. But I just know that I was incredibly sad, and actually what I ended up doing was, and I only told one person this, I literally ended up cutting my entire right leg. I massacred my leg, and no one knew. My family still doesn't know. I ended up just self-mutilation, self-harm, just cutting up my entire right side into my thigh and stuff like that, and it was really, really bad. Later I ended up covering up the majority of the scarring with tattoos and stuff, but that puts things into perspective as to how sad and depressed that I truly was. I sat down with the doctor, I went to the doctor's appointment, and literally the first thing that he said to me was, "You must be really sad." I immediately broke down into tears. I was crying the entire, I was crying for what felt like the entire consultation, like the entire appointment. And he just explained to me he literally just told me everything that was going on with me, and it felt like someone was reading my mind. It was, well, not even my mind, it felt like someone was reading my heart. He's going over the blood work, he's circling the things that he wants to discuss with me. But one of the things that he pointed out was my serotonin level. And he told me my serotonin was a level of 5 and that I was clinically depressed. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease Yes, it is associated with an allergy to gluten, but celiac disease is way more, and it's not just an allergy. Any autoimmune disease is your body attacking itself. So celiac disease is your body attacking your small intestines specifically. Small intestines produce 90% of the serotonin in your body. So if your small intestines aren't functioning the way they should, your serotonin levels aren't, let's say that's just like the happy drug, you secrete that drug when you're happy. So if you don't have any serotonin, then you can't, not essentially that you don't want to be happy, but you can't be as happy as you normally would. And that's why people who are clinically depressed and they get onto antidepressants is to help that chemical imbalance. So celiac disease is when consuming gluten, which is a protein, causes a chemical block in your small intestines that allows you to not consume and digest the gluten. Your small intestines are just like, no, I'm not eating this, I can't digest it, I'm not going to digest it. And there are so many repercussions of that it's literally a whole chain reaction. Your brain then increases or decreases certain hormones. And honestly, like I said, this was 5 years ago, so I can't remember exactly everything that he said and was explaining. One hormone that I remember he said specifically was epinephrine. Brain automatically starts to increase the epinephrine in your system. That's what attributes to my anxiety. I had really bad anxiety. I have bad anxiety to this day, and I still suffer from depression to this day. But I could not focus. I could hardly sleep. I was losing weight because my body was not digesting the gluten. And I wasn't vegetarian at the time. I'm vegetarian now, but I was not vegetarian then. But for some reason I was already eating vegetarian, kind of, in a way. All I ate was like typical freshman food: pizza, pasta, french fries. I mean, like, honestly, I had a lot of things, but gluten is obviously heavily in bread. Gluten is in the pizza, it's in the pizza crust, it's in the bread that I eat, it's in the pasta that I was eating, it's in, you know what I'm saying? And he also told me that I'm allergic to dairy, like cow dairy. It was so many things, but I'm trying to focus on just the celiac disease right now. So like I said, your brain tries to compensate, and because of those increasing and decreasing of hormones, that's what attributes to the lack of sleep, lack of focus, feeling like you can't concentrate. What's great now is that there are gluten-free labels on things. Back in 2010, there was no such thing as gluten-free. There was no product label that was going to say, okay, this ketchup is gluten-free, oh, this burger is gluten-free, this cereal is gluten-free. Chex cereal was the first cereal, I think, that, this may not be right, but it was largely in all supermarkets. Chex was the first cereal that I saw pop up say gluten-free. And I remember just being so frustrated. Spring semester, freshman year, still 18 years old. Like, what do you mean I can't have macaroni and cheese anymore? What do you mean I can't have burgers with the actual, the bread that they give me? What do you mean I can't have Cheez-Its? You know what I'm saying? It was literally like the simplest things that you don't think about until you can't have them. That, now obviously I think twice about what I eat and what I consume. But those of you're newly diagnosed, or maybe you've had it for 5 years now like me, just some advice: don't eat what you shouldn't. And of course I say this, and I know Snow is probably looking at me like, you eat gluten whenever you want to sometimes, and I don't say anything. See, exactly. And everyone is affected by celiac disease differently. Don't try and find a shortcut. If you're newly diagnosed with celiac disease, transition yourself. Don't just go completely without gluten. That's honestly the hardest thing to do, and especially if you're in college like I was. I was in school, and the school cafeteria had to make accommodations for me. So there were various locations on campus for me to eat, but there was only one who continuously would make accommodations. It was just the driest food. I remember hating it. It was always just brown rice and chicken. And not to fault my school, but I mean, at the time that's all they had. Now it's different, where there are a lot of different options for you. So I'm going to actually get into that more on my channel, just talking about gluten-free dieting. That pretty much wraps up all I have to say about that. That's my story of celiac disease and how I've been battling it over these years, and how I'm still obviously currently battling it because it does not go away. So you just have to love yourself, okay? Yes, you just have to honestly just take that in as it, just maybe it's just an essential part of yourself. It's just how you're made. You can't change it. It's just like your looks, you know, your physical looks and stuff like that. You just can't change them. So you just have to accept it for what it is. And actually, a piece of advice that my doctor had given me: anytime you start eating the foods that you shouldn't eat, they're going to negatively impact you in a way where you're no longer going to feel as happy as you used to when you ate them. And I didn't really understand I understood what he was trying to say, but I didn't, you know, actually relate. I couldn't relate to what he was saying at the time. Until now, anytime I eat, like when I eat gluten, and I don't think it's just a knowledge thing, like, oh, you know, now I know, so now I feel it. When you start eating gluten, you're going to, and you know that you have celiac disease, you're going to start realizing more and more that your body reacts negatively to it. How food makes you feel is literally why you eat it. So if something makes you feel negative, you see it's negatively impacting your life and your physical body, then it's going to make you not want to eat it anymore. So that's kind of like how celiac disease is. It's just this ongoing battle of, one, self-control, but also two, your body's going to tell you what it wants and what it doesn't want anyway. So it's also just the battle of listening to what your body has to say. It's permanent, but you're not going to permanently feel this way. It's not always going to feel like a weight on your shoulders. There's light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing, and I'm not trying to just feed you happiness, but just sincerely, you know, you just kind of have to go through that journey, accommodate, modify your diet. The only thing that probably set me back was my most recent appointment with the doctor this year. I can no longer have gluten in moderation. I was diagnosed to a point where he's realizing more and more that, like, no, I can't have it in moderation. Actually, I can't have gluten at all. So that was my battle for this year, and that's probably the only thing that's changed since, you know, 5 years ago. I'm in the process of still eliminating gluten out of my diet, and I think I saw him June, and obviously it's October now, and I'm the end of October, and I'm still making that transition. So you just have to give your body time to deal with it. I hope this video was helpful. Maybe this is something that you're going through, or it's a friend who's going through it, or maybe even a family member. Just try and support them your best. And I'm going to have more videos like this talking about celiac disease and its impact in my life, ways to accommodate and work through that. And yeah, I feel weird wrapping this up.
End it.
Okay. Alright guys, see ya.